And I've spent the last 10 years on the Board of Regents fighting to have our American history and values taught in the classroom, those values of liberty, freedom, and limited government. And I know everybody out there is wondering, well, or you assume that those values are already taught in college classrooms, the University of Colorado and around the state of Colorado. Well, they're not. And it's because those values are not taught in the classroom that we have the chaos coming and being created by the politicians and by the leaders in this country, because the one common denominator of every leader in this country, whether it be in business or whether it be in government, and that is they were all educated in America's colleges and universities. And if those of us in higher education are failing to do our job in transmitting those values, the teaching of American history, its institutions, and its texts, then we are undermining the very heart and soul of those values of liberty, freedom, and limited government. And what do we know? And what do we know about our elected officials, the leaders in society, and our college students? Well, my good friends at the Intercollegiate Studies Institute conducts a survey every single year, and they ask questions related to those very principles. And what we know should sadden every individual who is standing here today in support of liberty and freedom. Because only 32% of our leaders and college graduates today know the definition of free enterprise. Only 10% can tell you the difference between market competition and government centralized planning.
Explains a lot.
And only 50%, only half of the leaders in our country and students going to college today can name the 3 branches of government and what their responsibilities are. And we are graduating and sending out the next generation of leadership in this country. We shouldn't be surprised with the leadership that we're receiving from our elected officials. And make no mistake about it, because our rights and freedoms are under assault right now. Does anyone out here really believe that the government should be in the business of deciding who owns a home and at what interest rate?
No!
Does anyone really believe government should be in the business of making cars?
No!
Does anyone really believe government should be in the investment banking business?
No!
You know, we've been in recessions before. We're in a recession right now. And we'll come out of this recession just like we have every other single time in the history of our country. And the reason we will come out is because of American ingenuity, self-reliance, and that indomitable spirit that makes us truly unique. And we out in the West get that more than anybody else. We understand that ideal, that sense of rugged individualism, because we understand what makes America great. It's the ordinary individuals doing extraordinary things when called upon in the service of their country. Not because of politicians in Washington, D.C. promising us hope and change and using a crisis to exploit it as an opportunity to expand the role of government in our lives. Ronald Reagan once said, you and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take that first step into 1,000 years of darkness. Please join with me today in holding our elected officials accountable, but holding them accountable for liberty, limited government, and freedom. Thank you all very much.